Hello and welcome everyone. This is your astrology forecast for full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. And this one is happening on the 7th of September. And it's eclipse time, it's eclipse season, and eclipses are felt 4 to 6 weeks before and 4 to 6 weeks after their exact date. And their impact is very strong, and it's long-term impact. And eclipses are also related to cycles that were active 18 years ago. They carry that same energy, same lessons, same areas of our life are affected as they were 18 years ago. And whenever we have eclipses happening, they are setting the tone for the next 18 years. And this will especially be felt for those who have something around 15 degrees of mutable signs of Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Gemini. But of course, we are all going to feel it strongly. And the series of eclipses, this same series of eclipses, have been activated between March of 2006 and February of 2008. And also between March of 2015 and February of 2017. So we can all think back to those periods of times and see what big transformations we've been going through, what big cycles have been ending, what big relationships we've been initiating or leaving behind. And Pisces talks about the never-ending journey. Pisces is related to the 12th house, and this is the last sign of the zodiac, so it carries the wisdom and experiences of all previous signs. But it's not the end. It's something that is in Vedic teachings known as moksha, the great release, the transcendental oneness, unity, spiritual insights, spiritual journey, otherworldly experiences, mystical and mysterious experiences, dreams, synchronicities, altered states, subconscious realms, subconscious fears, anxieties, addictions, escapisms, substances, abuse of substances, meditation and contemplation, isolation, need for withdrawal, need for solitude, feelings of loneliness, nostalgia, melancholia, all these things are very strongly activated now, and we may feel overwhelmed, and we may pick up other people's feelings too, and we may identify them as our own, but we are now more receptive to the energies of others, to their feelings and emotions. And the never-ending journey of Pisces it's not really the end, it's just transformation, and eclipses carry the same energy. They always remind us that death is not the end, that loss is never truly a loss, it just takes another form and it transforms. So we are taken to another level now. We are ending something, but we are also beginning something, and the doors that we are going through are just an illusion, because we are just moving from one dimension to another, but in reality there are no doors. They are there just for us, to have a logical experience of something ending and something beginning. But in reality, ending is also the beginning, and vice versa. And Pisces also talks about the sacrifice. So there is something that we are sacrificing now, or we may feel like we are sacrificing something. But what we are sacrificing is something that needs to go anyway, something that is outdated, something that is outgrown, something that is not serving us anymore. And we are in Virgo season. And there is this polarity between Virgo and Pisces. And I also talked about this in previous video when I said that Virgo can be seen as the sand and Pisces as the sea, and together they create the whole. And we are now faced with some ancestral karmic patterns that are not ours to carry anymore. And we are faced with things we want to erase and forget, things we shut down, things we have hard time confronting. This is Pisces, the unconscious, subconscious, unseen, invisible, unreachable, intangible, untouchable, everything that we cannot really see, that we cannot explain with our logical and rational mind. It's the realm of irrational and the realm of fantasies and imagination and visualization. And it's a very powerful place. Pisces is really, really something that we cannot touch and cannot talk about. We have to experience it. It's direct experience through feeling. It's not about analyzing, cutting, making sense of anything, but we are going to gain a deeper understanding through feeling and being. And it's a lot about forgiveness too. And it's a lot about past. And Saturn, the taskmaster, Saturn, the lord of the karma, the lord of the time, just retrograded back into Pisces on the 1st of September. And this is some final journey of Saturn through Pisces for the next 27, 28 years. And Saturn is going to be here until February of 2026. So now we have this period of time and initiation through this eclipse, and with Saturn in Pisces, to really gain inner discipline and inner mastery, and to get serious about our subconscious realms that we cannot see, to get serious, to seriously look at our relationship with the spirit and the soul, not just like some science fiction, because it's not science fiction, it's very real. And what is intangible creates the tangible. And we are being faced with our own weaknesses, our own blind spots, our own wrongdoings. And we're going to see how it's much easier to find those blind spots in others than to focus on their qualities and virtues. And also, it's much easier to blame than to take responsibility. And Saturn is what? Responsibility. So Saturn in Pisces, retrograde, really takes us back. It takes us back to something we thought we are done with, something we thought it's over, something we thought we mastered. And this is like the final closure that is going to be a process. Of course, it won't happen overnight, even though it can. But it's really going to show us where we have skipped some lessons and where we have avoided responsibility, where we have suppressed and shut down our true core selves, and where we have left behind ourselves. So Saturn wants us to truly take full responsibility of how we feel within ourselves, of who we are in our essence. And Pisces is about removing all the masks, removing all fake behavior, and really just surrendering. It's the power and wisdom of surrender and letting go. And it's a reminder that those things that we don't see are the things that make things grow. Everything that we see is growing, like trees, grass, roots and flowers. They all have roots in the invisible. So the invisible is what makes things grow in the visible. So the same should be applied in our life. What we don't see within ourselves, our unconscious realms and subconscious dimensions are exactly things that make us grow in the physical realm. So Pisces and Saturn in Pisces retrograde is really taking us back to those roots, to the root of everything. And we are uprooting something. We are uprooting ourselves. We may feel like our whole world is turned upside down and, turned up and turned over. And it's time for deep review of our lives, of our health, of our self-care, of our healing. Because Pisces in 12th house is a lot about self-healing and connection with the spirit. So we are questioning those realms. We are reevaluating who we are deep inside when no one is watching. And it's time for really life-changing experiences, because eclipses are big turning points, and they bring life-changing connections and disconnections, unions and separations, goodbyes and hellos. So, these are experiences that are meant to happen, that are unavoidable and inevitable. And the previous eclipse in Pisces we had was in September of last year, September of 2024. So it's also related to something that was happening around that time, around August, September, October of 2024. So now we get more information about it. We go even deeper, and we go back to the roots of of the consequences we've been facing around that time. And we all know what is it about. So it depends in which house is happening also. So for example, if it's in the first house, and if you are ascendant Pisces, then it's about personal life, something very personal, something about our identity and personality, about our character. We are letting go of old identities, of attachments and identifications that are based on illusions. We are confronting big illusions from the past, and we are faced with our past selves that are still there, that we thought we have outgrown. So it's a lot about emotional maturity as well. Saturn is about maturity, and it's about growing up within ourselves, with our inner relationship with the self. And it's time for really understanding that everyone has their own path, and that there is right time for everything. This is also Virgo season, showing us that there is right time for everything, right time for growth, for decay, for rebirth, for death, for, starting something, for ending something, for bearing fruits, for planting seeds. There is right time for everything, and we cannot force anything to happen. So during the eclipses, it's very important that we don't make any big decisions or snap decisions during this time. And we may be faced with emotional isolation. It can feel a bit heavy because it's Pisces, and it's what we don't see. And it's facing that realm, facing our invisible selves. And there could be shocks and surprises by what we discover, or when we see that what we thought is over is not over, it's still there, it's still haunting us. Like memories from the past still haunting us. Ancestral stories that we inherited, we are still carrying them, and it's time to let them go, to truly release them. It's time for huge, massive karmic release on the collective and individual level. And it's time for allowing ourselves to make mistakes. Virgo, mistakes. Pisces, surrendering to higher powers. So it's very important to be able to do that, to be able to surrender to that mystical and mysterious dimension of who we are. And Pisces talks about oneness. And we may have those experiences where we feel like we are one with everything, because we are never separated from anything around us. Like, I am not separated from this, from the sky, from this surrounding around me. We coexist all together, and everything serves something. So we are all one and different. We are all one, Pisces, and different, Virgo. And this is the dance between union and separation. And of course, we may be faced with a lot of spiritual disillusionment, confusion. Confusion may arise, emotional confusion, but this is a necessary phase of spiritual journey. And there are doubts that test our faith. So we may feel like we are playing hide and seek with who we are, like we are playing hide and seek with divinity within us and with our personality. This is hide and seek between our persona and our essence. And there is a deeper understanding that there is really a divine timing. There is a divine intelligence behind everything. There is a divine purpose behind everything that we are experiencing. Nothing is happening by coincidence. Nothing is random. Everything is interconnected. And it can be disturbing and challenging for many, especially for those of us who hold on too strongly to what we are identified with as ourselves, as our personality. Like if we are too identified with certain roles in the world, if we are too identified with our education, with our family, if we are too identified with our skills, with our knowledge, with our relationships, with our place of living, place of birth, this eclipse will put the pressure on us to let go of those identifications, because this is more about feeling than knowing. It's more about feeling, and there is the wisdom of empathy, understanding that ego is not really a problem, but our ignorance of ego creates the problem. Our interpretation of life is the problem. Life is never the problem. As I always say, life never makes mistakes. Life always puts us in situations that are really, really perfectly designed for where we are right now on our path. And there is always a message there. And we should all pay greater attention to our dreams during this time, because our dreams will be delivering some very important, profound message. And this full moon eclipse is a reminder that there is something bigger than ourselves. And we are individual fragments that are also whole of that something that is bigger than us. And it's really time for us to start putting ourselves in the shoes of others, but at the same time being able to step out of self-victimization, to step out of victim mentality. This is Pisces: sacrifice, victimization, masochism, doing everything for others, putting ourselves in the last place, in the last position. Actually, not putting ourselves anywhere, because it's not important. What's important is others. And we are losing ourselves in others. We are losing ourselves for the sake of being accepted, not being abandoned, not being rejected, not being misunderstood. So this is really a time to confront these fears, to confront the fear of loneliness, to confront fear of loss, fear of losing our identity as well. And this is amazing time for all kinds of therapies. Pisces in 12th house is really a lot about healing and going deep beneath those emotional and psychological processes. And it's also a time to put ourselves into our own shoes and to deal with certain addictions. And addictions are many. These don't have to be general addictions. We may see that we are addicted to so many things that are not classified as addictions. And we'll see that certain things we thought are our healthy habits are actually our addictions, and we became fanatics about it, or we became too obsessive about it. And we are a mystery to ourselves, and we are now seeing that mystery more clearly. Actually, I mean, not everyone, but majority of people who are working on becoming more aware and taking the path of self-recognition and being present, not necessarily avoiding hardships of life, but being present no matter what's happening. Because there is a great confusion about what is spirituality, what is awakening. It's not like one single one-time process, one-time event. It's a lifelong journey. Just like Pisces, it's a never-ending journey of growth and evolution and gaining experiences and being present with those experiences, being able to apply learned lessons and being able to make the intangible tangible. So we are really a mystery to ourselves, and whole life is a mystical experience. But it's not necessarily what is happening to us, but how we handle those experiences, how we grow through those experiences, how we interpret what is happening to us, what we do with what is happening to us. So this full moon eclipse is facing us with our own spiritual bypassing. If we are using all kinds of techniques and practices, rituals, meditations, withdrawals as escape, as a way to escape certain things in this life, we are going to be faced with that illusion that we are not really doing the work. And someone who is in total chaos, someone who is messy, may be doing greater work than those who are sitting on the top of the mountain meditating. So it's very important to be with what is right here and right now. And what is right here and right now is not necessarily this exact present moment, but it's what we are going through within ourselves, and we may be going into the past. So if the past starts coming up, resurfacing, it's time to sit with it and to see why it's there, what it's trying to tell us. And is it safe to explore this? Is it safe to explore my desires? Is it safe to explore my past? All these things will be very important now, and we may be faced with self-denial, where we've been denying ourselves. Majority people live in self-denial, and majority of people live in sleep, unconscious that they are sleeping, unaware that they are in sleep. So it's also time when we are asked, are we sharing what we love? Are we able to share? And what is intention behind sharing what we love? It's time to reinvent ourselves, truly. And it's very emotional and sensitive. So we should be more forgiving and more understanding towards each other. It's a strong psychic sensitivity. It can be a very big culmination of psychic sensitivity, hypersensitivity. So we may be very reactive. It's emotionally supercharged time. So it's full moon, and it's eclipse, and it's in Pisces, and Saturn just retrograded back into Pisces. So it's very, very significant, and it's about leaving behind something that we have outgrown, but we are saying goodbye to old ways of living, to old lifestyles, to old habits and routines. This is, South Node in Virgo. And we have South Node in Virgo, and South Node represents the tail of the dragon, while the North Node, which is in Pisces, represents the head of the dragon. And we may be pulled by this South Node into the past. We are chasing our tails, and we are running in circles, repeating something. So we are faced with something that we do over and over and over. So this is something repetitive that needs to go away. But if we don't want to let it go, it will be taken away from us. Eclipses are like that. They won't ask us, are we ready for this? It's time to see that something is being removed from our life, whether we like it or not. And it can also be our health. If we've been neglecting our needs, if we've been abusing our bodies, our health, if we've been, overloaded with work, with tasks, with responsibilities, with hard work, with being efficient, being productive, finishing everything on time, feeling great pressure and not feeling useful or worthy if we don't finish it all, not being able to rest and relax, to tap within ourselves, to see what are our true wants and needs. Is the work that we are doing really fulfilling us, or is it draining us? This will be something that will come up in a big way. And if we've been neglecting this relationship with the spirit for the sake of earning, or for the sake of, finishing work and being always on top of the task, this eclipse will put us in the place where we need to be so that we can renew, regenerate, rebirth ourselves and our relationship with our bodies, with our minds, with our hearts, with our soul. And it's time when collective woundedness comes to the surface, and it's coming out of the shadow. And there is a very positive approach to all of this that is able to transform us. The whole vibration of this planet Earth is going through a big shift now. And we, together with it, have to make a transition too. And those who are not ready won't be able to transition together with the whole energy. And, we complicate things only when we don't understand them. And this eclipse is also reminding us of that we complicate things that we don't understand. So it's time we understand something and we simplify it and we move forward. And the goal is peace. But this doesn't necessarily mean external peace. Because we think that we are going to be at peace. I spoke about this before. When I achieve this, when I finish this, when I sort things out, that's when I'll get some peace. But no, peace can be created anytime. In any circumstances, under any conditions, we have that birthright to be at peace. And it's our choice. And of course, we can find many logical, rational, understandable excuses for not being at peace. But we know deep down, and this full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces will show us that these are just excuses. And it will show us where we're being delusional. And we are being faced with our twisted perspectives as well, our twisted perception and inherited beliefs around certain things. And during this time, this eclipse is making a harmonious 120-degree aspect called trine with Jupiter, which is amazing, and it's not making any other hard aspects besides the opposition and conjunction with lunar nodes. But this trine with its original ruler, Jupiter, And Jupiter is now around 19 degrees of Cancer, and Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. It feels very good there. And it's in Cancer, and the moon is the ruler of Cancer. And Jupiter is the ruler of Pisces. So this is very, very, very special time for us to grow emotionally, to mature emotionally, to gain great emotional, deep understanding and stability. And these are beneficial, lucky opportunities for growth, for gaining wisdom through these confrontations, through deep and profound healing. We are gaining some powerful wisdom because Jupiter is about wisdom, and in Cancer it's about emotional wisdom. And it's also the wisdom of the body, because the moon is the ruler of Cancer, and the moon is ruling our body and the water in our body and the water on the planet Earth. So this is also a time when big shifts and big things are happening with the water on our planet, and how we use our resources, how we do we honor the water. Are we aware of its importance? Are we aware of the importance of this resource and of this element on the etheric and physical level? So it's really, really significant to become more aware of the power of this resource and this element. And it's time to really be mindful of our feelings and to see, is what I'm feeling true? Is it really true? Or is it just an overblown emotional reaction? And it's also time when we are able to feel what unconditional love is. But we have to be careful with this, because unconditional love doesn't mean allowing abuse or allowing tolerating behavior that shouldn't be tolerated. We have to know how to set healthy boundaries, but it can be heavy because Pisces is all, but it's everything but boundaries. Pisces has no boundaries, but there is an opposition with the Sun in Virgo and the South Node in Virgo, and this is, where it's very important to know how to set healthy boundaries while still being able to feel the unconditional love. And love is a universal hunger. Everyone we see, everyone we know, the person we see every morning in the mirror is calling out for love. And we have the power to answer this call. And it's very important that we love ourselves, that we love the person we see in the mirror, and also to be aware that everyone around us is also our mirror at some degree. And when we accept and love ourselves, we tend to be more open to receiving love and believing people when love is offered. So loving and accepting ourselves makes life much easier. But it's about loving all aspects of ourselves, not selectively. This would be conditioned love, and we are being confronted with conditioned love too. So we have to look at what our hearts need. What our hearts need. From the beastly to the heavenly, because this is Pisces. It encompasses everything. The nightmare and the collective nightmare and the collective awakening, the liberation and the imprisonment, addictions and meditation. So it's very complex, but also very, very simple at the same time. And it's paradoxical. Pisces is a lot about paradoxes. And, let's not shy away from dark or light, because the heart needs both in equal measure. So it's really a worthy experience, worthy journey. And we are being asked some very powerful questions. Very powerful questions like what has been stopping us and blocking us from loving and accepting ourselves? Or what do we need in order to build courage? What my heart has to offer to the world and to others? What do others see in my heart and in my love that we are blind to, and vice versa? What can we do in order to manifest greater self-love, but not self-love that is based on egoic wants and needs, but true love of who we are, not of those aspects that we want to be praised and seen, but also those aspects of ourselves that we hide, that we shut down, that we keep hidden even from ourselves. You know, what secret do my heart wants me to know? So all these questions will be very, very strong. And what does my heart needs to heal? Also another question. So this is really a push out of the womb, out of that suppressed field. And we're being maybe vacuumed out. And it's really a really important time to deal with what we have been avoiding for a very long time. And full moons in general, they bring to light what we've been avoiding, neglecting, denying, ignoring, postponing, like all those things that we didn't want to deal with will come to light now. And because it's an eclipse, because it's eclipse, it will come out in a big way. And it's really massive confrontation with everything that we have been suppressing in the last 18 years. And it's really about becoming the true inner wizard and inner mystic who understands lives, experiences from a deeper level. And Pisces invites us to really feel the feelings, surrendering to the flow of our emotions. And there is a potential for profound healing and big emotional clear out. And we are asked to find acceptance and forgiveness. Forgiveness is something that really can hit hard, but it's time when we may have a need to cry without some logical reason, or to escape everything and everyone and to just hide. But it's really important to make quality time with ourselves and to understand our emotions, not even to understand them, to maybe let go of the need to understand them, to let go of the need to explain them to ourselves, but to just allow them to breathe, to be there, to be expressed, to pass through us, so that they can finally be integrated in the right and healthy way. And you know, Virgo season can be a busy time when we work hard on improving ourselves and our situation. And it can make us too aware of our imperfections and can also bring out the one who worries too much about everything. And Pisces and Virgo, when we worry too much about the outcomes, about did we do everything right, and then we have Pisces that awakens those subconscious fears, you know, we can be a bit paranoid or anxious. So it's very important to know that if this comes up, it's totally normal. And we shouldn't instantly try to fix it and correct it, but to really allow those feelings to be there. You know, it's totally fine to feel like that from time to time. There is nothing wrong with it, but we have been taught that this is bad, this is wrong, this is unhealthy, this is toxic. Okay, but we are not accepting it. And the the very fact that we are not accepting it, it will come and haunt us again and again in the verse way each next time. So this Pisces eclipse really, it's urging us to be a bit kinder to ourselves and to find a greater sense of peace and acceptance of what is. And sometimes crisis is exactly what we need, as it brings us to something greater. And you know, while Virgo part of us likes to pick everything apart and can be quite critical of self and others, Pisces helps us find true compassion and empathy. And you know, this can be an incredibly cleansing and purging eclipse, especially if we allow our emotions to flow and clear us out so that we can move forward with a lighter step and walk more lightly. So it's not about letting it all go either. It's not about surrendering all of our power, but surrendering that which is very hard for us, something that we find so hard to let go of. You know, there's the catch. This is the sacrifice. We are sacrificing when we are able to let go of something that we are carrying as a burden within ourselves for many years and probably many lifetimes, because Pisces in 12th house deals with past lives and ancestors. Sorry. So it's something that goes beyond time, actually. And you know, we can see the struggle between the transcendence and destructiveness. So this is not really about, okay, I'll put it like this. We may be self-destructive during this time. Pisces, as I said, can be masochistic. But we have this trine with Jupiter in Cancer. And it's opening up a whole new portal of understanding our emotions. And it's a very special moment for us to take that responsibility for ourselves and see that self-destructiveness is also a scream for help. It's need for attention. And again, it comes from that egocentric personality. And it's time for us to be our own healers. You know, to give ourselves that attention that we desperately seek from others. To give ourselves approval that we seek from others. To give ourselves love, compassion, and empathy that we desperately need from others. And to really stop replaying scenarios where we are saving others or we want to be saved, where we are heroes and saviors or we are victims who need to be saved. These old patterns and archetypes that are related to Pisces are being transformed into something different now. It's time for awakening the mystic, the saint, the one who can digest everything. Because, you know, we have Virgo, its digestive system, and its ability to digest everything. And together with Pisces and this eclipse, we are able to digest everything, not only physically, but to digest all information that we hear, no matter how obscure they may be, to digest it all and to gain higher perspective through this. Not to run away from it like it's something bad. So, we have to change the reality outside of us. No, we just have to change our perspective and interpretation of those things. And we have to be able to digest it all, because life can surprise us in many ways all the time. And it's time for a mystical trance. So we may feel like we are in some kind of trance. And this is a shamanic initiation. This eclipse is really a shamanic initiation. And we are breaking free from our own imprisonments and limitations. And in Buddhism, one of the 8 auspicious symbols is 2 golden fish. Usually they are standing like nose to nose, and this represents fertility and abundance. And the fish are a symbol of spiritual liberation, because they show the happiness and freedom of the soul swimming in the waters of nirvana. And this is Pisces in 12th house, the ocean and nirvana, the full liberation. And in Pisces, we swim in the ocean of samsara, or illusion, until we remember our divine source. Then we know that samsara is nirvana. So there is no need to struggle or swim against the tide. We can go with the flow of eternal life. We can be the flow of eternal life. And, it's a continuous battle and struggle within ourselves between rational and irrational, spiritual and material, between victim and redeemer. And this eclipse now gives us a whole new perspective of it. And, that the opposites are 2 parts of one whole. So we have to honor both. And there's a great quote from Aldous Huxley that says, "It's a little embarrassing that after 45 years of research and study, the best advice I can give people is to be a little kinder to each other." And I think that all that I shared with you in this video, and everything that has been said, and everything that we read in the books that we study, that we research within ourselves, can be thrown in the river. And, just let it all go. Just let's be a little kinder to each other. And with this, I would end this video. And I wish us all a very purging, cleansing, healing, transformative, life-changing full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, and the ability to digest it all and to find peace within ourselves, no matter what's going on around us. And again, let's be a bit kinder to each other. Love you all and see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.